understand we have one other individual who is running for presidency, and he's from New Hampshire, Bedford, New Hampshire, Christopher Hill. And I was unaware of that, and I'm assuming you're just starting.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, folks, thanks for letting me have an opportunity to talk to you for a minute. Let me give you a brief background on who I am. My name is Christopher Hill. I'm from Bedford, New Hampshire. I've grown up in the state of New Hampshire since 1974. You know what? I'm coming down here with you. Veterans are a special breed. They take a commitment and an oath to the Constitution of this country, and not a commitment or an oath to either party, Republican or Democrat. In 1991, a lot of you may have watched the start of Desert Storm on CNN. I was there in the F-15Es, along with the stealth fighters that led forces that liberated Kuwait for our nation. We were very proud to serve this country, and we understood what it was like to put our life on the line for this nation. In fact, on the second night of Desert Storm, I was part of a 6-ship mission that went to bomb an oil refinery near Basra, Iraq. There was so much surface-to-air missile activity and AAA in the area as we came off the target that we lost our number 6 aircraft, and unfortunately we lost 2 very good men in our squadron, both husbands and both fathers. And that's what leads me to this commitment today. I won't stand by and watch our nation teeter on the edge of collapse without trying to make a difference. And veterans across this nation are doing just the same thing. This is how I got here. In 1994, I was back home in New Hampshire after serving my country, and I lived back in Bedford, New Hampshire, raising our son with my wife, Michelle, around grandparents, aunts, and uncles. We lived in Bedford, New Hampshire from 1993 until 2008. I've been an airline pilot, and I'm an airline captain for United Parcel Service, UPS, and I currently live in Louisville, Kentucky. Last year, as we saw what was happening to this nation, we joined veterans around this country to try and organize and elect veterans to Congress, and we had some success. We elected people like Lieutenant Colonel Alan West from Florida to Congress. We elected a veteran that took Barack Obama's Senate seat from Illinois. And as I traveled around the country, I had an opportunity to speak to a lot of Americans. And often I find this, after talking about the issues, a balanced budget amendment, overhaul of our tax system, term limits for congressmen and senators, and bringing our troops home and a national defense back to our own borders, people look at me and say, you know what, I'd vote for you. And I always say this, I'm very flattered. I appreciate it. But what I need to know is, if you walk into a ballot box and you see names like Mitt Romney, Rick Santorum, Sarah Palin possibly, Michelle Bachmann, people who are part of the system, could you look for a captain named Christopher B. Hill and cast that vote? And they said, yes, I would. And so here I am. This weekend we're starting our campaign. The website is hill2012.com. It's easy to remember, just 4 simple letters, hill2012.com. We're starting this with $1,000 and a home computer and the backing of veterans across this nation. So when Buddy Wilmer talks about the money that's involved here, he's right. We can all go down the same path. I worked in 1980 for Ronald Reagan at 16 years old. I stood out here in Manchester, New Hampshire with a sign in January and February, and I believed I could make a difference in this country. Over the years, I've worked for other politicians, and what I see over and over again is they'll come to a town hall meeting just like this, they'll say one thing and they'll go to Washington, D.C. and do something completely different. And that's what we've had enough of in this country. So I'm not here to make pledges. I'm not here to make promises. I'm here to brief the mission. And when we brief the mission in the military, we follow through on it. And that's what you can count on. So let me simply close with this. take some time. This is our first weekend of getting the campaign up and running. Yesterday we had an opportunity to speak to over 350 individuals at the Young Republicans event over in Newcastle, New Hampshire. This is our second event of the campaign. In fact, yesterday was so well covered that we made some news in the Union Leader, and our ad is running for the first time this weekend in the Union Leader. We'll build this campaign on a base of veterans and airline people across this nation that understand that we're at a turning point. Buddy was right when he talked about another thing. 47% of this country no longer pays income tax, 53% do in this last year of tax collection, 2010. This is a pivotal moment in the history of our nation. And we can't go down the road again of electing other politicians who simply go through the same routine of telling us what they stand for and don't make a difference in Washington, D.C. So thank you very much for a few minutes of your time. I'll be happy to speak to you after I sign the pledge, and I am happy to do that because I grew up in this state that benefited from people like the leadership of Governor Thompson. Thank you, and I'll speak to anybody afterwards. I'll step right up and talk to you. Just let me sign this, and I don't want to hold anybody up. That's the thing.